Mondays and Tuesdays. We're about 20 people, and there's casual contributors who are making stories when they can, and then there are people who kind of come in and do the hard slog of putting the news together that day and making sure that content gets played that day. So here you can see some of our presenters. Over here is our Tuesday team, and over here there's some people from our Monday team. They're holding up the 2SER Love Heart, which is when we're making actually 2 shows a day. So we're making the national content that gets broadcast through the radio network, but then we were also taking over the airwaves through 2SER, which is 107.3 FM, which is a station we're based in, and making some Porter Drive show as well. So there's lots of opportunities for you if you get involved with the Wire to get on air, to get you know, experience behind the mic, and also learn how to panel, how to put together a package, and also how to edit together a radio package, and also how to make a radio show. So what we cover, like I said before, you might find it fake news, which is kind of talking all of our social media channels at the moment, or clickbait on the Wire. As journalists, we have a really serious responsibility. So we aim to cover, you know, the news of the day, but take a critical lens to it. So we want to make sure that we're providing content that is unique, but not just rehashing the press release. I can't tell you the number of times I've had PR people kind of call me up and say, this is the story, this is the latest product, and that's not a story, that's not the news we're making. We want to hear real stories, we want to hear from people in the community, and because we're a national show, we want to put a national angle on it as well. We want to make sure it's relevant for all of our listeners. We know our listeners are intelligent people, we know they're living in diverse communities, so we've got to make sure that our content is reflecting that, and we're going to be engaging for them as well. We also do something which is a little unique as well, which is, I call it prioritising voices at the margins. So we want to hear from underrepresented groups, and often they're underrepresented in making those kind of critical social decisions that end up impacting them. So we, you know, prioritise stories about women, we prioritise stories about Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. We make sure we play a story from the ATSA community every day. As well as people from low socioeconomic status as well. So as journalists, I think our job is to obviously question and challenge the views of those with power in both government and also the private sector as well. And I do always love the quote, and it does guide me in my work. I think it's pretty contested as to who said it. It might have been George Orwell, it might have been someone else. And it's that journalism is printing what someone else does not want printed, everything else is public relations. So a day at the Wire, just to tell you, if you did get involved with the Wire, what you could expect. If you are making the news that day, it is a big commitment. It's you come in around 9, obviously you're consuming the media that day, and you don't leave until about 6 o'clock. So it does take a lot to make the news. At 9:30, everyone comes in and we have a pitch meeting, and that's kind of one of the most interesting and fun things you can attend if you're coming and being a reporter on the Wire. And it's there that we talk about the stories that we're going to cover that day. So everyone kind of comes with ideas of what's making the news that day, what's a different angle we can take to it, what, you know, how can we tell this story, and is this a story that isn't being told anywhere else? And so once we've gone through the pitch meeting and everyone's kind of come together with a bunch of ideas, we then assign a story to an individual journalist, a volunteer journalist, and they go away and they research and they find talent, which is the people that they want to interview. They write the questions they want to ask, and they organise the interviews and put them all in. We write them on big whiteboards, we don't double anything. And then about midday, we check in with everyone. And it's there that we kind of make sure that things are going on track. Have we got talent? Is this working? Do we need to kill a story? Do we need to pivot? Do we need to find a new angle? Is there someone else we could talk to? And we also, it's there that we figure out what our headlines will be that day, although they can change. And we send it out by our membership to our subscribers. Then about 2 p.m. we want to have all of our interviews completed. That's a miracle and it's never happened yet. I've been there since August, but that's always what what we aim for. Around 3:30, all of the reporters are starting to file their cue sheets, which is what the presenter reads. So, you know, you don't just launch straight into that story. The presenter needs to introduce it, and they need to do it in a way that's got usually 3 things. So the first thing you want is a hook. So something to make the listener kind of, you know, stop, you know, what they're doing and have a listen, or continue what they're doing and make sure that they're engaged. Because often people, we're going to air at 6 p.m, so people are often driving home, or, you know, picking up the kids from sport, or maybe they're cooking dinner. And then about 4, so we've got the hook there. Then we want the who, what, when, why, where, that kind of explanation of what's happening, why should I be listening to this? And then we throw to what you can hear. So usually we say, like, this was a story made by, insert the reporter's name here. So after that's the cue sheets are written, we hope to have all of the packages filed by about 4:30, and everyone's feeling a bit tired, and so usually some sugar is brought out into the newsroom and it kind of peps everyone up. About 1:45 we head into the studio, and it's there we connect with the CRO, which is the Community Radio Network, and we're making sure our levels can be heard and all the packages are playing properly. And then at 5:04 we broadcast live and to some very small stations, and they hear exactly what we're talking about in the studio and there, which can be very nerve-wracking, but also creates a lot of adrenaline, and people can get really addicted to that and love presenting and being behind the mic. Then about 5:30 we finish the show, but it's not over, but it's all about uploading to social media. Back in the day when it was just radio, everyone kind of called it quits, would go home and they'd go to the pub, but these days there's still more work to do, and it's all about our social channels, which are Twitter and Facebook, and also our website. So that's kind of what a day looks like at The Wire. The reason why I love radio and why I've fallen in love with radio is, to me, it's a platform for diversity. It's really accessible. You just need, you just need a radio these days, which is very easy to come by, or a computer, or smartphone. Most people have those things these days and can access them. And also, it's a really intimate medium as well. Radio is really persuasive. It whispers in your ear, and you're not distracted by pictures. And also, you can tell the story without images. So often with television, if you don't have the images, you can't tell the story. But that's not the case with radio. And I think that's what makes it so powerful. So just wrapping up now, if you want to get involved, we're always looking out at The Wire for new reporters and presenters and panelists and social media gurus. And, you know, also we don't expect you to come with all the skills and be completely ready. I mean, it's fantastic if you are, but it's really a place where you can sharpen those skills and get experience and be broadcast nationally at the end of the day. It's about making a great portfolio of work which can help to get you a job in the end. And also, you know, it's a great opportunity to build your networks and meet fantastic people doing it along the way as well. And of course, if The Wire isn't your cup of tea, we are based in 2SER, and we've got a whole bunch of shows there in health and environment and law and business and feminism and everything. So perhaps if you're not interested in news and current affairs, there is definitely something there for you. And our next training day where we'll be taking in a bunch of volunteers will be January 14th. So pop that in your diary if you're interested. Yeah, but that's basically The Wire for you guys. If you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer, or move on to the next person.
Does anyone have any questions for Emma? Otherwise,
I just wanted to mention one thing, that you can also, so if you're presenting a breakfast show, for example, on a smaller community radio station or a station of the state, and you can't actually get involved in The Wire, in that, or like by actually making the stories, you can also just replay the stories to add great content to your show. So have a look at the website, see what's there, and use the content that's there for your shows to make them sound better. That's awesome.
Yeah, and perhaps, you know, we are always looking for story ideas. Maybe you don't have time to make the story, but we'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
You can let us know what that story is, and perhaps you've already got some content that you think would be relevant for The Wire. I'd love to hear from you guys as well.
And if you have any questions, one from there.
Yeah, one more. How old's your youngest person who's at the Wire?
At the Wire, probably 17 or 18, someone who's just entered university. Yeah, and we also have people who are over 50. Like we have a really diverse array of people who are reporters. They're not just at university. Yeah, they're from all walks of life, which is what makes it so great.
So, and any more burning questions, of course, you can email Amish to put a contact details up there. The new channels will repost that on our Facebook pages. But thank you very much, Emma. Right, please welcome our second speaker, Paula Kruger. She's the training manager for ABC News and hopefully here to give us a bit of an insight on what it takes to cut it at the ABC. Please welcome Paula.
And in case you've missed it, my colleague Flip and I have been gate crashing your conference all day. It's been great. It's been great listening to all the things you've been saying and being part of this. I'm really proud to be representing the ABC here as well. We're just in the building right next door, and you know we hope that you consider us part of your broadcasting family. I'm also really proud to be here as a Pacific Islander as well. As a Pacifica person, I know how important it is to have community radio and to have our voices heard out there, especially when your voices and your stories aren't necessarily appearing on big mainstream media. It's very important that you're out there doing what you're doing, and also as a recruiter and someone that hires people, community radio is just such a wealth of talent for us to draw on, and that's something that I hope I can that's a seed I can plant in your head today. And so, firstly, how to get into the ABC? Well, I hope that all of you, on a very regular basis, go to the ABC Careers website. Now, that is abc.net.au/careers. Visit it regularly. We've always got lots of positions coming up there. Right now, and he's been plugging away, right now there's a Triple J producer position, with all of your radio skills, that is something that you can keep in mind. Also, we're looking for a weather presenter for television. The Bretton's program in Melbourne they've got, I think, it's just been extended to next Sunday. So if there's anyone in your networks who you think would make a great weather presenter, and when we say, I mean, you're presenting the weather, but there's also quite a strong emphasis on having digital networking skills in there as well. They want someone that can build a social media profile, that can reach out to people. So it's not just pointing and smiling. It's so much more than that when you're doing jobs like this in the modern media landscape. And so the main thing I want to push is that you go to that careers website regularly. There'll always be opportunities there that you can look into. The other thing is cadetships. So one of my roles at the ABC is cadet recruitment. And so we've just finished the interviews for this year's cadet recruitments. We recruit 8 cadets a year. 2 of those positions are for Indigenous recruits, Indigenous cadets, and a lot of our Indigenous cadets are coming with lots of experience from their years of working in community radio. We've had, last year we had 2 Indigenous cadets who had been doing community radio since they were in high school, and they were just amazing. They came in with wonderful skills and already, knew what was a good story and knew the kind of stories that made people listen. So where you are now, you're building the skills that you need, for careers in mainstream media if that's where you want to go. So with the cadetships, we have, as I mentioned, 8 positions, 2 are Indigenous. This year, the focus on recruiting cadets is very much on digital. So yes, those broadcasting skills matter, but also those digital skills. And when I say digital skills, we don't necessarily mean, you need to know how to code. It's not necessarily about that. Digital skills mean so much now. Digital skills mean that ability to speak in a conversational way on digital platforms and social media platforms. Digital means having visual literacy, which is pretty tricky for us when we're in radio, because you know, don't have to worry about the visuals, it's like up here like this, radio head. So, you know, so having that visual literacy with when you're working in your community radio programs, you've got Facebook pages, you need to put photos up. Try and make those things the best they can be, because those are all the skills that you will need. And they're also skills that you need to be able to articulate what you can do as far as digital skills go. Or, you know, remember that often when people are looking at your resumes or going through your applications, these are people who, unlike you, they're not necessarily what we call digital natives. So spell out what it is you can do on digital platforms. You might take for granted the stuff that you do on social media. It's just that doesn't everyone know how to do this? They don't. So really spell out what your skills are when you're applying for jobs. And so with the focus that we had on digital this year, we're still going through the process of we haven't, you know, informed this year's cadets whether or not they're successful. We're still, you know, going through quite a lovely bureaucratic process at the moment, which takes a while. But what we found in the recruitment this year is that by going for digital, we actually ended up with people from, you know, a lot of diverse backgrounds. We ended up with more people from non-English speaking backgrounds than usual, which is quite interesting because when you look at people from non-English speaking backgrounds who are interested in media careers, to find opportunities, you're not looking at the mainstream because you're not used to seeing yourself there. And so what you're doing is you're going to the areas where there's disruption in the industry and there's disruption in digital. And so it makes sense that, you know, the people that were doing innovative things and the people that were doing stuff that were grabbing our attention were people who were in these digital areas. So the digital and the diversity for me really do go hand in hand. But hopefully, watch this space. Within the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to, you know, we'll be in contact with people who have been successful in getting cadetships, and you know, hopefully you'll be as excited as I am about what they've got to offer the industry and the ABC. Cadetships aren't everything. Regional is also a great way into the ABC. My colleague Withnall just talked to me this morning, you know, started in regional Western Australia with her career. It's the best place to build up those skills, and especially there's a lot of you here who are already working in regional areas. And so there's regional ABC, you know, divisions in those areas as well. So keep an eye out for opportunities there too. Now, just very quickly, what are we looking for? We're looking for people who love news. You're surrounded by news every day, and you've got to read a lot of it, so you have to like it, or you're going to go crazy. So really enjoy watching news and really be passionate about keeping up to date. The other thing that is important is agility in this industry. Like I've been, one of the best things about working at the ABC is that, yes, it's a big organisation, and some people might see some negatives in that. I only see positives. I started at the ABC as a cadet in 1999. I was an older cadet. I was 27. Don't calculate before you so, you know, but in that time at the ABC, I managed to do just a huge range of things. I've done radio, I've done TV, I did kitchen cabinet for a while, and this was the best job ever. I had to be paid as part of my job, but anyway, that's the one. And did kitchen cabinet, did Kruger bees for a while. Now I've sort of moved into management roles, which is quite good as well. And it's just within that big organisation, I've been able to have all these opportunities and still have the security of staying within one organisation. And so for someone who's agile, the industry at the moment is just the best place for you to be, because you've got to constantly be going, oh, you know, pivoting, trying something new, and, you know, new opportunities open up. We're constantly advertising jobs at the ABC that didn't exist a year ago. You know, we're getting editors who their job is just to keep an eye on how our content looks on a mobile device. That job didn't exist a few years ago. So you've got to be agile, and you've got to be, you know, constantly adjusting to where the jobs are. And the other thing, and Justin touched on this just before, is resilience. Resilience is really important. When you're covering news, there's a lot of really tough stuff you have to cover. So really be aware of what your strengths are, but also what your weaknesses are, and have a bit of self-care as well. Yeah. And the other advice I want to pass on to you is that please don't think that you're not going to get in. When I applied to get into the ABC, you know, back in 1999, I didn't think I was going to get in. Next week, I'm going to be calling a whole bunch of new cadets who applied to be a cadet and they didn't think they were going to get in. Just apply, okay? Don't think it's not going to be you. Apply with confidence and sell yourself. I always tell people that what you've got to do is you just got to imagine the person. I mean, you probably went to school with these people. There's that one person who really wasn't really that good at anything, but they taught themselves up. So always imagine that you're competing against that person, and you don't want that person to look better than you when someone like me is looking at your CV. You know, so constantly talk yourself up, articulate your skills really well, and because you've got to make yourself rise above all the other people that are applying for the same job. And the only other thing I want to touch on, maybe because it feels like it's a bit of the theme of the conference today, is that, and this is coming from someone who's working for a big organisation, big media, and you know, when you come into big media, a big media organisation, and you're from, like in the ABC, we're very aware that we need to improve diversity at the ABC. So it's like, okay, so when I'm in the ABC, am I the diverse person, you know? And so it's a very, and look, I'm quite happy to take questions on this later because it is a really tricky area. But you know, don't put too much pressure on yourself. When you come in, the fact that you're there is a good first step. This is something that I've worked at the ABC for 17 years, so the fact that we still have diversity problems there is, you know, I've got to take responsibility for that because I'm in a position to change it too. But I still struggle with, you know, oh, do I do, you know, do I just be the journalist, do I just be the manager, or do I represent Pacific people? It's also very hard when you're working in a big organisation and your own communities are looking at you because everything media does, it's your fault. Whenever there's a story, I mean, you get that with your own, you know, with your own organisations now. But you know, I'm at the point where I just don't ever want to report on PG affairs anymore because I've got to deal with my mother, I've got to deal with everyone else, you know. So that's another pressure that might come on you when you're working for a big organisation. Just be easy on yourself, okay? It's not easy. Find support from other people who are in a similar situation in the ABC, and you know, and just don't be too hard on yourself. It's okay. We're all still figuring it out, right? And so, and other than that, I just wanted to make sure that you're all connected with me on LinkedIn. Feel free to. I like to pump out any opportunities available at the ABC on LinkedIn. So you know, just send me an invite, send me a connection notice, and let me know that it was here, that you know me, and you know, I'll know that you're not some random, and I'll connect you. Okay. So, any questions at all? Excellent. Everyone applied to be the way to go.
Thank you very much for all of us. So obviously, I appreciate it. Did you like to rub your hands? I also have a head for radio. That's why I do breakfast radio at 6 o'clock and not at 6 and time of day home. But it is now coming up to our final presenter for today's conference. I'd like to welcome Melanie to the stage. She's the Managing Director of Sydney Community Radio Station 2 SCR, and to let us know what it takes to run a community radio station. Melanie, thank you.
Thanks very much for having me. I see many familiar faces in the room, so that's, some of you may have heard these stories before, so here we go. So one of the things I've been asked, what I've been asked to talk about today is my journey from a community radio volunteer as a teenager through working in big commercial radio organisations, working at the ABC, and then coming back to community radio to manage a station and also be the Vice President of the Community Broadcasting Association of Australia. And on that, we work really closely with the NEMBC through the roundtable and other initiatives that we do, and we represent nearly all of the ethnic stations in Australia as well through that. So I got started in radio through my local community radio station, 2NBC. Anyone here from there? So I'm just checking 90.1 here first. And I really just loved radio, and I wanted to be, I guess, in the entertainment business, and I had to do community service for Duke of Edinburgh, not for any other reason. So I'd done some work at the library, and it was pretty boring, and then I saw like community radio station. I thought, well, community service, I'll go and work there. and I absolutely loved it, and it really set me on a path to decide I wanted to do radio. So I volunteered with FBI before they got their full license in Sydney, with their test broadcast, and I also did a show at 2SER. And some of the people who mentored me then are actually my colleagues today, so it's pretty great. And then I was studying at UTS. I was doing a Bachelor of Communications and a Bachelor of International Studies. Yes, I have a degree and a Master's in Russian, so if any Russian speakers here, love to have a chat. It's a very useful language to know. Putin, Trump, they're becoming festive. But basically, I was volunteering, I was doing a film degree. And the film industry at the time wasn't great. And I thought, well, what am I going to do? And friends of mine had their friends go to Afters. And they said, look, we really like your radio shows. We think your films aren't so great, but your radio shows are quite good. Why don't you consider going to Afters and making radio? So I went to Afters, and then I was in at 2GB. I kind of took every opportunity I could to get into a radio station. And I went into 2GB, and the day that I was there was a big breaking news day. Sunday night, there wasn't many people around, and I got the opportunity to work on breaking news broadcast at a big station like that, which at the time had a lot more breaking news than it does today. And I thought, this is what I love, this is what I want to do, because it was about telling stories about Australia and our history, and breaking news events, and working with a team, and it was just great. So I sort of ended up working in talkback radio and news and current affairs, so 2GB. 2UE, I was a senior producer at ABC 702 here in Sydney. I've also worked briefly in television. Didn't really like it that much, but I did work in Moscow at a station called Russia Today. And I also was a foreign correspondent for 2UE in Russia as well, and I studied my Masters. I've also been a radio lecturer at Afters, and I think those combination of things have led me back to 2SER, because it is a training station or an educational radio station. And one of the things I'm really able to do is share my passion for news and current affairs with a whole range of diverse people, which is one of the things I like as well. Some of the big stories that I worked on, and interesting what Paula was saying about resilience, was working on a story about the London bombing, which broke, and we were getting raw feeds of audio, and had lots of friends in London at the time, and literally ringing people, not being able to get through, and just basically working well above my shift. We worked through the night. Didn't really realise the extent of what had happened. Got home, turned on the television. The first time I saw the images, really, because I've been really focusing on that program and coordinate the coverage for the network at the time. And basically saw the news converse into news, because I realised, how harmed people have been. I worked on, so, those kind of things were just really amazing, I guess, shaped me personally, I think. I also was able to cover the big political story, one of the big political stories of our time, which is the first run spill, which happened live on my program, so in 702 in Sydney. And the biggest compliment ever was we got to move the midday news for our program, which is fantastic, and also had my hairdresser. I don't have television, I have to spend a lot of time and effort to get it to be this long. And I was going to get my hair done, and my hairdresser, who was a huge fan of 702, had left her tools at home, which for a hairdresser is a big deal. So she had to go home because the coverage we were doing was so compelling. But after doing that kind of thing, I really thought I was concerned about diversity. I was concerned about the lack of voices in the media. And I also, for me, wanted to grow as a person who's taking the opportunity to move into management. And so when the job came up at 2SER, which was a station that I had volunteered at myself, and knowing that it was a training station and I loved working with people, I thought, I'm going to put my hands up to this job. I need to practice job interviews. So I went for it and I got the job. So I just want to mention that, because sometimes you think, well, I don't really have the skills to do that job yet. But if not you, who? And if not now, when? It's a great quote that I've been reminded of this week. So always think about what do you want to do, what opportunities are in your world, and take that and run with it. So the reason why I like working in community media is because of the ability to tell stories that aren't told anywhere else. there isn't the same kind of pressure on audiences, ratings, or in commercial radio profit as there are in community radio. We do think about the community first, even though it's really important for us to still reach our targets and actually fund our station. We can think about other things. It's also, in terms of the jobs in community radio, they do really tend to favour people from linguistically and culturally diverse backgrounds, or it doesn't matter if you identify as an LGBTI person so much. There's also a woman of colour managing the station, which is something that I have not seen in my time working in commercial radio. It's Rachel at 3CR. Our sector is also growing, so the globalisation of the world's media has, I think, led to an increased hunger for localism. And community radio is talking to niche communities and is actually really based in the community, owned by the community and for the community, is able to do really a lot in terms of local news. And I've worked on a project in Papua New Guinea which was about establishing a station in an area that didn't even have radio before. And they've really been able to use that as a way to, I guess, bring their community together and make sure their stories are told in an increasingly globalised world. I think too, in terms of jobs, one of the things I was asked to talk to you about, you've heard Paula talk about jobs at the ABC, but there are jobs in community radio. And one of the things that we've done at 2SER, because we don't have a lot of money and we really always sort of worry about how we are going to be able to employ people, is sort of create our own jobs. So out the front you would have seen a little postcard from the Community Broadcasting Foundation, and Chris is really involved with them as well if you have any questions. But you can apply for a grant, in conjunction with your station to try and create a job for yourself. And we've done that. We created an Indigenous internship and cadetship program. We got money from the CBF, we got money from UTS. We were able to create this cadetship, and that person, she's now working at the ABC. That's something that she wanted to achieve in her career. But we created a job for her for 4 years so she could work and study as she went along. We've also created other shows based off those grants through an idea that person has had a project they wanted to do, were grants to fund it. And I think too, with community radio, because if we're generating money or we're generating a profit, it's going back into our business. That's what it means to be not-for-profit, and so we're able to just keep investing in our community. So as a station manager, some of the things that I do are all the boring stuff. Insurance, finance, yep, that's me too. Auditors, everyone loves them. You get to make the radio, I get to talk to the auditors. But there is some cool stuff as well. So we've done stuff like we set up a pop-up LGBTI radio, digital radio station, getting all the ACRA approvals for that. It was really exciting because it meant that, yes, I was on the phone working out how we were going to get music licensing, but at the end of the day, we were going to be able to play Highland Note on my station, which is something we otherwise would never have been able to do. We've also, doing that, we've done big sports broadcasts, which has been really exciting as well. Doing the technical things for that is quite exciting. It means, again, we're able to highlight a sports that otherwise might not be highlighted. There's also, at 2SER, we run a news service. We also have specialist music, so there's never a dull moment. And one of the things that I like is the problem solving. But because it's a small station, you're solving big problems and you're solving little problems. So it's everything from, why isn't there any dishwashing liquid in our kitchen to let's build a pop-up radio station. It's really diverse. And I love the training and the volunteers at the station, and I love the fact that we are so diverse. And that I meet people from all walks of life, all backgrounds, every day. Many of them, it's never just like a token, it's always, there's a big group of people, and that's fantastic. We had ethnic broadcasters until last year, and that was one of the really fantastic things that we had at the station, but they've moved to 2010 now, because we needed more spots on there for students. And the thing that also I think has been great about community radio is the fact that you're always learning. It always is hard to do a lot with less, but you're always learning about something new that you can do. And particularly, in the multi-platform environment. I was at a conference this week when there was head of Yahoo 7 digital strategy was there, and the scale that they're talking about and what we're doing as small broadcasters around the country is really quite amazing. Look at what we're able to do with the resources that we have compared to the resources that commercial networks are putting in. So I really enjoy those challenges. It's one of my favourite things about managing the stations. I don't think, oh, it's all too difficult. I think, how can we solve the problem? And I do it because I really believe in what we're doing. So the independent youth and current affairs, Indigenous broadcasting, the specialist music, the stories that aren't told anywhere else, that's what I'm really into. So the final thing I want to talk to you about is how important it is to keep community radio alive. So who here is volunteering at a community radio station currently? And where are you staying? Where's your station? Canberra, one's in it? Yeah. Yeah? Over here, what station? Cairns. Cairns? Oh, wow. Canberra? Yeah. Okay.
ABC Eldin.
Yep. Other ones? Over here, there was some, yep. Brisbane, where are you? Cool, so you're going to volunteer on the wire and help on that? Yeah, excellent. Good. Over here? No?
I volunteered to this, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm on the program to do this.
Are you? Oh, yeah, so you're going to do the website feedback thing?
Yeah, I am Thursday.
I just sent out a thing on the feedback on my website, so my developers like want it now, so that's the other thing I do as a manager of the station's like Chief Hassler, or it's a deadline. But that's what I did as an executive producer as well, so it's great doing my skills. So with those stations, you know, some of them are quite small and some of them are quite large. And there is this huge diversity, not only in terms of who our broadcasters are and the stories that we do, but also in terms of the type of stations that we do. And this diversity of voices is absolutely so important. Media is being disrupted, it's also being consolidated, there are less and less voices. The station that gave me my start, 2UE, my first big paid job, is now advertorials, pretty much for sport. That is not a news source anymore. And so that makes me really sad when I think about what a lack of voices that there are. And these local stories are so important at this time. And even though you might think, who is listening to me? Well, let me tell you, 5.2 million people are listening to you. You know, 12% of all people in Sydney listen to 2SER each month. That is a large number of people. And when we look at how news is being treated, like in Facebook and algorithms and all that stuff, it's really important for us to keep putting our stories out there and keep, you know, sharing our thoughts and our views and all those different opinions, because at least if we can get through to those 5.2 million people, that will help the whole situation that we're in at the moment. One of the key things of community broadcasting is about harmony, diversity, access, equity, and different viewpoints. And yes, you can do all of that on YouTube, you can do all of that on the website, but you don't get the community. You don't get the fact that you're licensed, that it's trusted, and that it's somewhere that you can actually belong and be a part of something. And it is just so important for democracy and for education, and particularly too to make sure that we all survive, because, you know, as much as the ABC I'm sure would like to, running a station in a remote Indigenous area is just not possible. But community radio can do that. We can make sure that every person in Australia has access to media, that they have access to be able to broadcast for themselves, and they have access to be able to hear something that they want to hear of their community for their community, by their community. So that is why I love it, and I'm really happy to be here today, and also to continue to work in the sector and to hopefully create job opportunities for you during the state of the sector. Any questions? Claire, I said in the grant documents. I'm overdue some documents. I just wanted to make sure that that was done. But yes, yeah.
I was just going to say, we're obviously from the NEMBC. I think, you know, and you're right to your point about, you know, you guys have voices in places that we don't necessarily have. What's the best way that we can work with community radio so that we're not sort of, you know, maybe we're potentially creating partnerships and not cannibalising what you're doing, but maybe bringing some support and then being able to kind of do an exchange of voices and services or something. I'm trying to think
different way to be. Look, I don't want to speak on behalf of the whole sector because that's the beauty of it is every station, like youth, Indigenous, ethnic, you know, we're all run differently. And what I would think about is a good idea that the Christian stations might not be a good idea. So I'm not talking about anyone. But I think, you know, there is, every audience is different. You know, it's not the same. People who listen to the ABC for one thing and then listen to community radio or something else. And I just think it's important to remember that that sector doesn't exist. You know, I've often gone to things, even when I was working at ABC, and it's as if there's like the ABC commercial radio. There's not, there's actually there, and we have almost as many listeners as a network as a radio does. So, yeah, I just think it's important to keep that in mind. But I'm happy to have that conversation offline. Yeah, and also Emma from the CWA, because I think there is a lot of, we've had different partnerships with 2SER. You know, we do help provide like interns into 72 and that kind of thing. So we do have different partnerships, but I'm sure they will. Yeah.
During your journey of volunteering as an administration, doing yourself out there, what was like the hardship that you encountered, and like in retrospect when you think back to your money and you think, oh, like that happened for this reason rather than
yeah, I think rejection. I think you know, I'm here to talk in a really positive light, but there is a lot of rejection along the way, and I think that one of the things was that my dream, like I know this is going to sound terrible, but necessarily managing a station wasn't really my dream. And when you, and I sort of, I guess, was quite practical, but well, this is what I really, this was my dream since I was a child, and this isn't going to happen. So I can be bitter about that and complain, or I can try and, you know, enjoy what I am doing and the skills that I do have. And so I think that was really, it was like a psychological shift of like, well, you know, you work really hard to try and achieve something, and you can't achieve that. So I'm going to just be bitter and not do anything, or even say, well, actually, I love this industry and I understand it, I'm going to do what I can. And I think recognizing that my skills necessarily weren't actually in that area, my skills were in something else, and being able to do it. But I just would say the persistence, like the amount of really talented people I see who apply for stuff and they'll apply once and they get knocked back and then they don't apply again. And that happens to everyone. You are going to, this is a really, really tough industry. If you want to move into commercial media or NBC, it is really, really tough, even community broadcasting. There's not as many jobs as there used to be. But how can you get there? And one thing that I think about is to look at your skills and to also think, well, I might really want to work at Triple J. That's a great example because everyone wants to work at Triple J. But if you don't get that Triple J breakfast producer job, are you just going to give up? Or are you going to go, I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep trying to work there. I'm going to try and work in another part of the ABC. I'm going to go get skills in another part of the industry. You know, we see it all the time with people who apply for the news connections and don't get them, and they get really, really gutted. And then it's like, okay, well, you can complain about that, you can be sad, or you can apply for these jobs that are actually available in commercial radio right now. And the number of people who then take that job and still get back into the ABC newsroom, it happens all the time. Because they've gone, okay, I can't work there, but I can work here and I can get skills and I can go back to the ABC and still get that dream. So yeah, it's not all smooth sailing, and even yeah, I just think it's that ability to go, okay, well, what's going to work for me? You know, if I can't have that, could I have this and try a couple of times? Does that make sense? Yeah. Any other questions? And also, I worked in some, I should just say, I did work in some practical jobs. If you're going to cry, you go to Soundproof Studio. Yeah, so and when someone throws a folder at your head, you kind of die. Yeah. Cool. Is that it? Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much.